This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for What in the World with
Paul Seaburn. Hi, Karen.
we've been having technical difficulties the last couple weeks.
Yes.
And that's because I'm trying to be ahead of the curve, and I keep falling behind.
Well, welcome to the club. Okay, so I'm here. We are here with NewClevelandRadio.net with What in the World. Karen Hale is here, our producer, as you haven't figured out by now, media mogul, podcasting guru. NewClevelandRadio.net is the eclectic collection of all eclectic collections of podcasts and gracious host of What in the World. Over in the corner over there is John Dinalo with What in the World of Sports. Hi, John.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Karen. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Good. The man of leisure. Boy, he looks like he's relaxed, doesn't he?
He's back this week.
Yes, he is. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. That's right. I know. He's raring to go with Bluff the co-host.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I've been born ready.
Okay. Well, I don't want to waste too much time because we have so much stuff to talk about. I have a bunch of really good trivia. John has some great stuff on our sports subject of the day, miniature golf. So without further ado, Karen, if you don't mind, let's get right to What in the World. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. Today is going to be all of the above.
Well, that's good. And you are the host, so go right ahead.
Oh, no, that's right. I forgot. Thank you. So what are we talking about today? We've got from around the universe. We've got putt-putt golf in Florida with a UFO link. We'll be talking about that. We're going to Virginia, where the lake from the movie Dirty Dancing, the famous lake where they did the famous lift, is disappearing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, why that is. There's a 95-year-old man in India who has never cut his hair in his life. We're going to talk about that. A woman in England has haunted pants. We're going to talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah, it might be a good thing, Karen, you know.
Haunted pants.
Haunted pants, that's right. Haunted pants. And a couple of sports stories. John, you'll like this one. Mike Tyson, the former heavyweight champion, is going to be boxing a great white shark. We're going to talk about that.
A great white shark?
A great white shark, that's right. It should be fun. And John, the Italian member of our crew, there's a tattoo parlor in Italy where you can get a tattoo on the roof of your mouth. That would be right there. So
you really have to want it to do that, I think. Oh my God!
Wait till you find out, and wait till you see what they're doing.
Good.
And then we're going to go. We'll do the miniature golf UFO story. John's got some great miniature golf trivia. We'll play Bluff the co-host, and hopefully we'll cram that all in. If we actually have time left over, I've got another story that I'll work on. But you know how it goes with What in the World. We're here to entertain. That's our goal. To have fun, to take you away from the real news, the bad news, the political news, the all that other junk that's going around, and get some stuff that's still real news, but stuff you won't hear anyplace else. Sometimes strange, but always funny, and we always have a good time telling you about it. Don't we, gang?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I sound like a cheerleader here. Okay, yeah, give me a W.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, John, in honor of you being back, we're going to go to the Italian story first. So this
go ahead.
This story comes from Florence, Italy, where a tattoo parlor has been giving customers obscene tattoos on the roofs of their mouth. That's, again, as I point out, right up there.
It would hurt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. You're exactly right. It would. It takes about 20 minutes. And yeah, I think it would hurt. But be that as it may, people are doing it. And apparently the most popular design to get tattooed on the roof of your mouth is a picture telling the dentist where he can stick his drill. Hey, bada boom, where's my drill? I'm not.
Hey,
I'm
Paul,
going to let you use your imagination, but they are very obscene tattoos. Not very big, but very obscene. Um, and if you think about it, one of the reasons that they give is that people say they want to hide their tattoos from their family. So, you know, they normally get it where underwear might cover it or a shoe or something like that. Well, what better place to hide it than inside your mouth?
Ooh.
Unless you're somebody like me who yawns a lot. And then, you know, right in the middle of dinner, I let out a big one. And the next thing you know, everybody knows what I have on my tattoo. And which, by the way, the lovely Donna and I have been contemplating getting some of these tattoos. I know you don't believe me, right?
I don't believe you, not Donna.
Well, she agreed to do it for the good of what in the world, and of course for my writing at mysteriousuniverse.org, where I go into greater detail on all this weird stuff. So I have a picture of the tattoos we're going to get. I hope you're ready for this, John and Karen and everybody out there. This is the lovely Donna and me modeling our new roof of the mouth tattoos. Can you see those?
Oh, wow.
I see them.
Yeah.
Little alien heads right up here. What do you think? Great idea or not?
No, too much pain. To
Yeah,
Karen's
thank
point,
you.
too much pain.
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree. I agree.
Too much pain.
For those, I just got a note from our remote producer, the lovely Donna, by the way, who said, who wanted to mention that, well, we can't mention it to people listening on YouTube because we're not on YouTube today.
Right.
We will be in the future, and you'll be hearing us in the future, but we're from a message from the past. So, but if you're listening on Spreaker, I believe, welcome, and please tune in and take a look at what we look like. You'll see the picture on YouTube
Yep,
later on during the week.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
We're
yeah, I
cool.
agree. I agree with both of you. That would be way too painful. It was a joke. We're not getting aliens tattooed to the roof of our
You know, I'm pleased to hear that. I'm relieved now.
And thank you, John. Wait, next time I'll find a tattoo you're getting.
Oh, no way. Oh, no way.
So let's go down to Louisiana, next place to go. And this, oh, I love that. I have a picture of this as well. Oh no, this is in India. A man was walking in a wooded area, swampy wooded area in India, and came across one of the rarest things in the world, an albino turtle. Now, turtles are normally green, right?
Yeah.
So when they don't have the pigment that turns them green, they become yellow. So this turtle is completely yellow with pink eyes. So that's how they know that it's actually an albino turtle. I'm going to hold up a picture of it there. I said, see if you can see it in the light. And you see how yellow it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really see his eyes, he
No.
or she. I don't know. They didn't flip it over, so I don't really know.
It
if
almost
it's
looks chartreuse.
chartreuse. Oh, I have no
Like
idea.
that word. I always like that color, chartreuse.
Yeah, that's a woman thing. It's yellow or red. It's not.
Chartreuse.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I showed the picture to a friend of mine who lives in Louisiana. And the first thing she says is, hey, I got a roux that'll fix that color. So, but John, a roux is like a gravy for making.
Oh, I'm trying to get that. Yeah, Paul, thanks for clarifying.
I'm doing it for everybody else. I think everybody else has the same look as you do. Roux is what browned flour that they use to make gumbo. That's how they end up.
It's like a base or something, like a base?
Yeah. Butter.
Okay.
All it is butter, flour, and oil.
Okay.
And they put it in everything in Louisiana. We've turned into a cooking show here. Good buddy of mine, by the way, we offline we were talking about the comedy business and how the coronavirus has affected the comedy club. Good friend of mine by the name of Lowell Sanders, a comedian I've known for years and years. He opens for Tim Allen. While he's not working, he's started to do a funny cooking show on YouTube as well. So,
Yeah.
he wasn't the guy I called, but he does a lot of Louisiana stuff. So Cajun style cooking. So look him up. Lowell Sanders is his name. Tell him I sent you.
Okay.
He'll give you a discount on the free YouTube video. Bada boom. Okay.
Oh,
So now we go to India again, and this is, and I know Karen, you probably saw the picture here, but this is a 95-year-old man in India claims he has never had his hair cut in his life. It is now 24 feet long, and he has to pile it on top of his head. Now, John, I know you wouldn't believe it unless I had a picture. So here's this guy with 24 feet worth of hair piled on top of his head, all wrapped up in a turban-like thing.
It has to be too heavy to carry around.
You better believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
like a what?
not to be funny. Wait a minute. Why is this guy doing this?
Why not?
That's a different
Yes,
show.
Karen, I don't.
I don't.
Hey,
That's
come
one
on.
of Karen's therapy shows. You have to tune in there, where one of her therapists will call the guy up and ask him, "So, do you hate your mother?"
There's some deep-seated problem he has, obviously.
I don't.
Oh my
You're
God.
24 feet long.
His hairline is receding if you look at that picture again.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. He's balding.
Yeah.
He's balding in the front, so it's in the back. You know, so we could still get a start on that, John.
Paul, you know,
and believe it or, I thought 24 feet is a world record. It doesn't appear that he holds a world record either for the longest hair nor for the longest going without a cut. But yeah, it's a big thing. It's probably heavy. Believe it or not, he used to drive. And guess what kind of car he used to drive, John?
a Volkswagen.
No, a Cutlass. Oh, where's
Really?
that rim shot?
Do you have a picture? Another picture?
Like that.
Good one, Paul. Good one. All right.
I know the comedy clubs are closed. You come to What in the World?
Of course.
Hey, it keeps
Dangerfield here.
just minute by minute.
So, believe it or not, though, I did find one world record, and you'll love this. This is having to do with hair. The highest Mohawk. Now, you know the Mohawks are that
Of
hair,
course.
hair straight in the middle. The world's highest Mohawk, 4 feet high, by a guy in Japan, who requires, he grows it long, shaves it on the side, and then he needs to make the Mohawk. He needs 3 cans of hairspray and an entire jar of gel to get it sticking straight up. To which I mentioned that to the lovely Donna, and who hasn't been able to go to the hairdresser in months and months, and she said, "Yeah, been there, done that." They're just you can't win. So anyway, so there's our hair story for the week. Now, this is for our good friend Tex Chick and her high maintenance import husband, who's from Cornwall, England. This story comes from Cornwall. A woman in Cornwall claimed that her pants are haunted after she spent a day at the beach and her kids took a picture of her pants and there was a face on the back of them. Now, of course, I have a picture of it. The color didn't print well, so I did it in black and white. And I don't know if you can see the face. It would be on her left butt cheek. I don't know if you can see that face.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
2 eyes and a mouth looking straight at you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, my pants used to do that too, but then I stopped eating at Taco Bell. They don't, well, where's
There's
your
a reason for everything, Paul. Paul, there's a reason for everything.
So the woman's name is Holly Abraham. And I mentioned this for Tex Chick. she was at a beach in Port Houstok, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, Port Houstok Beach in Lizard, Cornwall, which is on the Lizard Peninsula, which I believe is called Lizard because it's shaped like the head of a lizard. Now, how they knew from if they had an aerial view, I don't know, but that's what it's called. Now, so I don't know what's worse: the fact that this woman thinks that her pants are haunted, or that all the people on social media believed her. And I love this. She puts it on social media, but first she had to ask her kids. She says, "Do these haunted pants make my butt look fat?" And they said no. So then she put it on social media. And it gets picked up by national news. It's in the local paper. The local paper passes it up to the national news. This is big news in England. They have nothing else to talk about besides haunted pants.
Something's not right in the world.
So, don't blame me. We talk about that kind of stuff all the time because that's our goal. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. But the real media is starting to pick up on this kind of stuff. So that's our news from Cornwall, England, from the Lizard Beach with the lady with the haunted pants. Now, we'll do a little bit of food stuff. Nobody gets to go out to eat anymore, but you still can go to fast food places. And there's been some concern by fans of Taco Bell. The reason is that Taco Bell announced they're discontinuing, and I want to make sure I get this straight because I've never had it, the quesarito. So people are panicking that they're going to drop it from its menu. Now, John, what language did you take in high school? Did you take Spanish?
Believe it or not, I took 4 years of Latin.
Latin. Okay, I took 3 years of Latin. So quesarito means nothing to me. So I had to look it up. And quesarito is a made-up Spanish word that means a cross between half burrito and half quesadilla. So now I'm no genius here, but I'm thinking if you miss your quesarito, you can go to Taco Bell and you can buy a whole burrito and you can buy a whole quesadilla, and then you can mash them together and you're going to have a dos quesarito, which means 2 quesaritos.
What I find interesting about this,
oh no,
when you think about Taco Bell when you go there, apologies to the management or what have you, their food as it's presented, I think you could call it whatever you see it. How do you know this is a burrito versus a quesadilla? And then are there different actual ingredients that go into different ones? Because to me, I hate to say this, it all tastes the same.
John, you sound like you haven't been in a Taco Bell in a while.
Well, interestingly enough, I haven't been. Would you think I should maybe go? Because there's one that's literally 800 yards from our house.
Oh, from your house, you could walk there, yeah.
I could walk there.
You could get a whole bag full of stuff and do some research for the next show.
Well,
maybe your pants will be haunted.
Oh, I like the segues. If you guys really like Mexican food, though, we should find a different place.
Oh, definitely.
Apologies to the management again.
No.
Or the ownership, I should say.
Yes. Taco Bell Mexican food is an oxymoron. Those do not.
It truly is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
If you want, wanted Mexican food, right near us on Northfield Road is Dos Coronas.
Dos Coronas means 2 Coronas, 2 viruses.
Good. Yeah.
That is a good place. I've been there many times, by the way. Yes.
Oh,
I agree with you 100%. And they are serving during the pandemic.
Yes, they are.
A little outdoor area, and they do have takeouts. So, and there's our plug. Why aren't they sponsoring us, Karen?
I'll go knock on their door later.
Okay, good, great idea.
Strong arm them. Strong arm them.
If they have any quesaritos.
Oh, that's funny.
So, speaking of another fast food place, I'm sure you haven't been to in a while, John. KFC.
No, I have not been to KFC recently.
Well, okay, you need to go for this. KFC just announced that they're developing a 3D printer that will reproduce the world's first laboratory-made chicken nuggets. So, Matt, they have chicken molecules in there somewhere, but basically it's a laboratory-produced 3D printed chicken nugget. While you sit stunned, let me give you the slogan. The slogan is, "It's printhead licking good."
Oh,
It's terrible. Who's gonna eat something? You sit and you watch it get spit out of the printer. I don't care. I didn't even bother with the pictures because they look so far away from a chicken or a nugget that you wouldn't believe it. My thinking is, of course, that if I did get one, I would want some slaw. And I'm sure other people would want some slaw too. I would hate to be the guy who gets a bowl of slaw and finds out that what he really got came out of the shredder, not the printer.
oh.
It's just a picture of a cabbage with some pictures of mayonnaise mixed into it.
So my question is, on a 3D printer, when they make these things,
Oh yeah,
instead of ink tanks, they have food tanks?
yeah, yes, yeah. It's filled with a protein substance and coloring, usually natural coloring, and that's what it does. It's multiple print heads that spit out the various things in patterns. It's amazing. It really is amazing technology that we're wasting to make nuggets.
Yes, I think so.
But they're doing it. I think we talked about this once before. They're doing it on the space station, and it's really a crude replica of the replicator on Star Trek, where Scotty would go up and say he'd want some scotch and press a button, and the replicator would come out with a glass of the best scotch he ever tasted in his life. We're a long way from that with a 3D printer and nuggets.
I'd say.
So now, John, now that I perked you up talking about food, let's talk about a little bit about some sports. So, former heavyweight champion, I think he held the title at least twice, all the belts at one time or another. Mike Tyson will fight a man-eating great white shark during Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, which is coming up in August at some time. Check your local listings for time and place. So I know you expressed disbelief before that he would do something like that. He's already trying to back out. And the reason is that he went to see a great white shark and they don't have ears for him to bite off. So he's not really
That
sure.
was coming. I could see that coming.
He's not sure how he's going to win this fight. So, John, time for some sports trivia. I think I might have my horn here. You remember that fight, of course, the famous
Evander Holyfield, right?
It's Evander Holyfield. Was it the first or the second fight that the fights occurred?
Seek the second one, I think.
You're exactly right.
I think they fought him once before, and he actually had. I'm not sure if he won the first fight or not, Mike Tyson. At that
Evander Holyfield won both fights.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it was a rematch. And,
right. Okay. Sure.
The first one was a year before, and
right.
So in the second match, the normal boxing match, plenty of jumping around and bobbing and weaving, and then all of a sudden in the third round, I believe it was, Mike Tyson puts his head next to Evander Holyfield's head and takes a bite out of his ear, his left ear. And so Holyfield grabs his head and Tyson spits it out. They measured it later. It was an inch-long piece of ear. So you would think at that point that Mike Tyson would be disqualified from the fight. And yet they took both fighters to the corner. They found a piece of ear. They wrapped it up and put it in the corner. And then they said, "You want to keep going?" And they both said, "Sure." So they taped up Holyfield's ear. He goes back in and fights again. And what's the first thing that Mike Tyson does? he starts to bite his right ear. So multiple, but yeah, Karen.
Well,
I know
you
it's
what?
hard to believe. It actually happened.
Well, I watched the fight with friends, and
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have even been a pay-per-view event, which
Probably, yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of. But
Uh-huh.
because it was such a, as you said, a rematch, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, like the best heavyweights going.
Oh,
I think
yeah. Yeah.
I think we threw some money together and we
Yeah.
watched it actually at my home. I remember it was watching it, and it was incredible because one of
Huge.
the guys says he bit his ear, and we all say no way, and then we back away, and sure enough he did, and then like you said, he did it a second time.
Second time, yeah.
What's he thinking?
Time.
Unbelievable.
Apparently Holyfield had, I can't believe, so then they disqualified him. Not the
Right.
first time. After the second bite, they disqualified him. And Holyfield had his ear rebuilt, but he retired temporarily and then came back and fought again. Tyson was banned from boxing for life, and then they felt sorry for him, so they let him back after a year or two. So he continued to fight after that. They became friends.
Oh
And
my.
they are not, yeah, they're not only that, Karen, but earlier this year before the pandemic, they were talking about, these two 50-year-old guys were talking about doing a rematch, a third fight.
Yes. And Mike Tyson is in his 50s, clearly.
Yeah.
He's in his 50s. I'm not exactly sure how old. And Holyfield's got to be close
So
to that.
they're both about the same age because they were in the Olympics at the same time.
Oh, okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So they're both about the same age.
Oh
Yeah,
my
but what
God.
are they fighting for? The World Geezer Championship? Come on.
The Geezer, good one.
The Geezers.
Oh my
Yeah.
Geezer Championship.
I don't know who owns that belt these days, John.
Well, you know, it's pro wrestling. They can have some offshoot of that. So
Yeah. So he can't. So Tyson, he can't hit Holyfield. Who else can I box? How about a great white shark? So the Discovery Channel is doing that during Shark Week, and of course they have to qualify it. It's for all in the name of research. Now, what they're researching, I have no idea. Maybe they're going to put a monitor on the shark to see if the shark heard about the fight and tends to move away from Tyson's mouth while it circles around and hits him with its little side fin or whatever.
Sure.
I have
the
no
dorsal.
idea how this
Maybe it's the dorsal.
with the dorsal. Yeah.
Dorsal.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of marine biology here. Boy, you get everything. Everything on What in the World. Honest.
I got a lot of, hey, Paul, I have a lot of
Yeah.
time on my hands right now. A lot of time on my hands.
So along the sports theme, we always like to talk about world records on What in the World. I have a couple of world records. With
Okay.
that Indian guy with the 24-foot hair wasn't one. But our good friend up in Idaho, the guy who drank the lime juice in
Yep.
a bottle of lime juice and a bottle of lemon, he's at it again. So this week, he broke the Guinness World Record when he threw 19 chopsticks in 1 minute into the center region of an archery target. So, you know,
Right.
not like, you know what I'm talking about, John. This is like, if you remember back in the old days when we used to use pencils and
Sure.
we sharpened them in a sharpener,
Right.
Oh, yes.
and we went to the office and there was suspended ceilings with foam. And when you got really bored, you would throw the pencils into this.
Give me the motion. Here it is. Here's the motion. That's exactly what we
did
did
right
do.
there. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. Sure. Right on. I still remember.
Yeah. So this is a version of that. That's
Oh my
basically what
gosh.
he did. So the Guinness people thought it was great. The owner of the Chinese restaurant threw him out and said, you know, that's not a target. That's the flag of my home state, and kicked him out of the Chinese restaurant. So,
Oh,
you know, John, can you eat with chopsticks? I don't recall.
not
We
very
never ate it.
well. Not.
No?
I can. I've used chopsticks, but eventually I just go to the metal fork because it's just too much work.
Chop spoon. They need to make chop spoons. I
There
would
you
use
go.
chop spoons. Karen, how
There.
about you? Are you a chopstick user?
I can. I
Oh,
mean,
but
I can use them. Yeah.
you prefer? Oh, I got it. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I got thrown out of a Chinese restaurant too. I slipped some salad tongs into my pocket, And when nobody was looking, I took those out and I was eating those.
No way.
They didn't like that. Yeah, no, they didn't like
No
that.
way. That's a
Yeah.
fabrication right there.
Those are my chop spoons. So,
Uh,
so a little bit of chopstick trivia, as long as we're talking about chopsticks, because they baffle me. They have been used since 1200 BC in China, which, you know, there's been trees longer than that, which is where they come from. But they didn't get popular until 400 AD. And it turns out Chinese chefs, and you've seen them do this in when we used to go to restaurants and you would see them cooking. They would use these giant chopsticks to stir the stir fryer or to stir soup.
Right.
So but the Chinese people used their hands, or they used a metal utensil of some sort. And what happened was in 400 AD, there was a population boom, and they ran out of the utensils that people normally use. So they said, hey, why don't we use chopsticks? And they cut them down, and they watched what the chef did, and that's how they started eating out of bowls. And then the other thing they did was, because there was a shortage of meat, they started cutting it up into pieces before they cooked it. So there was less meat, and in order to pick it out, it helped to have those sticks to reach in there and grab a little piece of meat.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
between those two things, that's where chopsticks became popular. In Japan, they have different sizes for men and women. Sorry to say this, Karen. But in Japan, the Japanese chopsticks for men are 8 inches long. At least that's what they say they are. And
Leave that alone. Leave that alone.
I know, thank you,
Anyway.
John. And the female chopsticks are 7 inches long.
Why?
I don't know. Tradition. It's a Buddhist tradition. In 1878, the Japanese became the first to make the disposable chopsticks out of bamboo. So before that, they were made out of ivory. They were made out of all different kinds of metal. And the emperors of China had it made out of silver, because they believed that silver turned black if they dipped it into something that was poisoned. So, which is not true. If you dip it into garlic or onions, or garlic and onions are the big one. The acidic part of that will tarnish chopsticks, which is why you shouldn't use chopsticks when you're eating Polish food, because it's loaded with garlic and onion. So anyway, I thought this was interesting. There's some curses, some things to avoid when you're eating with chopsticks. And one of it, if you get an uneven pair, if one is longer than the other, they believe that you will miss a boat or a plane in the future.
Oh my, I don't want that to happen to me.
No, I don't either. Which I'm sure the airlines are pushing this. Hey, it's not our fault. You had uneven chopsticks. And then in Korea, which also uses chopsticks, there's an old superstition that the closer to the tip one holds a pair of chopsticks, the longer one will stay unmarried. So the closer to the end you hold the chopsticks, the longer you will remain single. So I'm guessing if you're a girl in Korea and your parents buy you some 3-foot-long chopsticks and tell you to use the other end, they're tired of you living at home and they want you to get married and move out.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, so now we'll get into we're going to go down to Florida, home of all weird things, and to the miniature golf course that was designed as a result of a UFO sighting in Gulf Breeze, Florida, which is near Pensacola. So, if you were a space alien and you were looking for something to do on your vacation on Earth, miniature golf sounds like the perfect sport. It's your size, because space aliens are short. It requires little skill. If you don't have it on your planet, you can pick it up pretty quick. If the place is closed, if you don't have any money, which they wouldn't if they came here from Alpha Centauri, they just go at night and hop the fence, and they can play then. And if anybody comes, shoot them with their ray gun. So it sounds like the perfect sport for Alien. So this course called the UFOs mini golf course in Gulf Breeze has a UFO theme. They just opened up based on an actual sighting in Florida in 1987. A guy by the name of Ed Walters took photographs of the UFO that he saw from his front yard. And I know I never have pictures of UFOs. Guess what? I have the actual photograph that Ed Walters took back in 1987 from his front yard of an illuminated, looks like it's a blue UFO hovering over the trees.
Wow. Looks authentic.
Looks authentic. Thank you, John, for that.
Actually,
authentic.
I thought it was a globe on a street light hanging.
Oh, Karen's offering a dissenting view.
Karen, just play along, Karen.
Oh,
Okay? Because, Karen,
yeah.
UFO, he took multiple photographs that were printed in the local paper. UFO experts from around the country weighed in on it and analyzed them and talked to Ed Walters. And they were convinced that these were real UFOs.
Okay.
So for a number of years, they believed these were the best photographs of an alien spaceship ever taken. Now, in 1990, a mysterious thing happened in Gulf Breeze. 6 soldiers who were AWOL from their base in Germany were arrested in Gulf Breeze. And they had some weird stories about why they were arrested. One of them was that they were here to attend a UFO conference that was currently being held in Gulf Breeze. They should have been thrown in the brig, or whatever the jail is called for the Army, because they were AWOL. Instead, they were released immediately. And the only penalty was they were docked 2 weeks' pay, but they weren't even demoted. There was a 1,600-page report done on this arrest and the whole circumstances surrounding it. And when it was released under the Freedom of Information Act, 1,400 of the 1,600 were withheld. No one has been able to see them. So, all the conspiracy theorists believe that it's possible these guys were actually there undercover investigating the UFO that had been seen in Pensacola and in Gulf Breeze. Now, coincidentally, in 1990, Ed Walters, remember him? He's the guy who took the pictures. He moved out of his house, moved someplace else. Someone else moved into the house. They knew the circumstances. They didn't care. Didn't matter. They bought the house. Guy is up in the attic checking things out. Ed Walters left a bunch of stuff in the attic. One of the things he left in the attic is this.
Well,
that is a bunch of foam plates glued together.
Wow.
Could be a serving bowl.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Could be a styrofoam serving bowl. Registered trademark, by the way, so I have to put the little R after.
Yes.
So yeah, in 1990, they found out that it was all a hoax. And the papers that had been tricked, they had got their hands on it, and they recreated the photograph and said, "Oh yeah, we knew all the time." Except they didn't. Everybody believed that this was the #1 best UFO sighting of all time. So still to this day, they argue about it. A lot of people don't believe that that's what the guy used. And I think initially he said that it was planted, and that it was to discredit him, that he really did take the picture. I think eventually he admitted that it was a hoax. So coincidentally, so this has become a hotbed for UFO conferences, and there's a lot of hotels down there. So this guy by the name of Jason Nicholson was like a clerk or a waiter at one of these hotels back in the 90s when these conferences were held. And he remembered that, and he saw how many people came to this UFO conference. So now he's a big executive. He's a vice president at a hotel in Pensacola in Gulf Breeze. And he says, I should bring that back. So that's what he did. He set up the UFOs, mini golf course, ice cream, and arcade inside and outside of as part of his hotel experience. And they just opened. The whole reason I'm talking about this is because they just reopened after the pandemic and after all the remodeling just last week. So there's aliens all over this mini golf course. Here's a picture of an alien playing golf alongside of some human beings.
Oh my God! Oh,
It doesn't seem right.
no.
It doesn't seem right.
They're climbing the walls. They have a picture of a little alien family fishing in the water hazard. It's great. I want to go there myself. The heck with the aliens. I'd love to go. I like playing miniature golf. So course is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Adult tickets are $13. Children, $10. Children under 4 free, and aliens free all the time.
How about senior citizens?
How much to what?
Senior citizens, don't we get a discount?
Senior citizens. I didn't see that.
Huh.
We'll have to make a road trip and find out.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, I
make a
think-
road trip.
So after all that, John, I want to bring John in to talk a little bit about miniature golf, a sport that if all of us have not played, we're all at least aware of it.
I mean,
and one that we can all handle.
yes. I mean, miniature golf is so prevalent, or I should say, the courses are they're everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's fun to play.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is. It's fun to play. But so we'll go to a little bit of history, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So when did it start?
Well, so we're going to go back to the 1860s, when a ladies' putting club was built in all places, St. Andrews, Scotland.
The birthplace of real golf.
Real golf, correct.
Wow.
So, and the ladies' putting club was created in 1867 to allow women access to members-only clubs, and that was the result of the social norm at the time, because there weren't many lady golfers, and most of the golfers were men.
Oh, it's like the Chopsticks. Yeah. Well, we'll make a
Okay.
little course for the ladies.
And so, and it's interesting that the people in that time frame considered women raising a club above their shoulders unacceptable.
Ooh, sexy. Kind of like seeing an ankle.
Well, yeah, and so and also the course then lacked outlandish obstacles. However, the course is still considered one of the most prestigious in the world. And I have an interesting note for you.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I actually went to St. Andrews when we were in Scotland a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right there on the North Sea. And it's really, when you're there, it's not a plush golf course, because at the time of the year, it's there like in July, I think, in Scotland. And it's not like a deep, lush green that you would see undulating.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it on television.
No,
Yeah,
it's really pretty interesting. And what we also discovered
it's on the North Sea, which is not a pleasant
right.
beat.
We also discovered,
body of water.
excuse me, we also discovered that if you were a student there at St. Andrews,
Yeah.
you have a yearly membership paid for to play golf.
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot that it's a school. You can take anything there, not just golf.
right, exactly.
I bet they have a good golf team.
Well, I would hope so. You would hope so. But at any rate, so early miniature golf courses fell into 3 separate categories. The one is the pitch and putt type. The second is called a regulation par 3.
Oh, okay.
And the third was called the executive course.
All right.
So you wouldn't think that you'd have these distinct levels, but there are. And, you know, again, it was Interesting that you
So
had
how
that
did
kind
it
of
come to the United States, John?
came to the United States, early 1900s.
Okay.
James Barber created a miniature golf course in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And according to legend, after seeing the completion of the course, he said, "This'll do." And so the "This'll do" course, featuring symmetric walkways, fountains, and planters, was born.
Ooh, wow, sounds fancy.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah, this'll do. The lovely Donna says that to me all the time. I didn't know she'd been to that golf course.
Yeah.
You are.
Oh, how did it become so popular?
Well, I think it became so popular because people could play it.
Yeah.
You know, people could play it more easily than like a traditional golf course. I mean, I think
sure,
the holes.
less
Well,
space.
well, sure, it stands to me. The holes, even though you have obstacles, they're not long. You know, you don't have to worry about hitting it into the fairway, you know, into the tree.
Right.
You know, so there's obstacles, but they're actually mechanical obstacles contrived by man as opposed to like natural
Trees
things.
and hills and yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So
Well, and another thing, and I'll throw my own personal experience. One of my uncles owned a miniature golf course when I was a kid. So it was franchised. It was one of the earliest known franchises in the United States. And that's one of the reasons, you know, you didn't need a whole lot of space, as you mentioned, and
right.
you could get into the business pretty easily with a do-it-yourself package. So, but some of them, I know you found some unusual places that they put miniature golf courses.
In fact, so in the late 1920s, there were over 150 rooftop miniature golf courses in New York City. Rooftop, and then as it of course, as everything starts in New York City, it expanded. Tens of thousands of rooftop miniature golf courses were created.
That scares the heck out of me. I don't like heights, but I don't like having golf balls fall on me either. And I've been to miniature golf. I've seen people hit the ball. You know, you're supposed to just do a little putt. They hit the ball completely out of the course, over the fence, into the parking lot.
There's some hackers out there. There's some hackers.
Yeah. All right, so of course it's got to be a sport. There must be professionals and.
Well, to my research, which was again somewhat done thoroughly, the most professional, the most professional, prestigious mini golf competition in the world are the U.S. Masters, the U.S. Open, the British Open, the World Crazy Golf Championships, and then also the World Adventure Golf Masters.
So there's a Masters and a U.S. Open, just like in regular.
Exactly right. Yes. In fact, it's governed the World Mini Golf Sport Federation. The acronym is MFW. Is headquartered in Gothenburg, Sweden.
In Sweden. I wonder what. Oh, they have a lot of gnomes in Sweden. Maybe they.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
So, are we going to retire and become professional mini golfers? Can we make some money?
The highest money prizes are paid in the U.S., where the winner of a major competition can earn as much as $5,000 per round.
Wow.
$5,000 for playing miniature golf.
Well, how hard can it be? How hard can it be?
Can't be, Paul. I mean, I think we have to talk after the show about this. I mean,
oh, wait. Now I know that I've seen where plenty of people have played 18 holes and got the ball in immediately. So they had 18 strokes for 18 holes. That's apparently a pretty easy thing to do. But can you do that in a tournament?
Well, in Sydney, Australia, in September of 2012, Alan Cox, of the Chasing Aces team scored 1,516 hole-in-one on a miniature golf course in 24 hours of time.
24 hours on a golf course.
1,516
And all those, yeah, I know.
hole-in-ones. I guess that's doing it.
Yeah, hitting that clown or going under the windmill.
With a red nose, of course, right? You know, sure.
I know you found this guy, Greg Newport. He's a professional golfer.
Yes, you can explain, Paul. Explain.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so I saw that he played 8 rounds. A match was 8 rounds.
Right.
And he scored 185 for 8 rounds. So he averaged 23 strokes per game. So that's just on only 5 holes did he have to 2-putt. Everything else was a hole-in-one. That's amazing to me.
That's an amazing statistic also.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. So that's our miniature golf trivia for today. Thank you, John. That was interesting stuff. No matter what you say, I'm not walking near any apartment building with a miniature golf. You know, I bet you in Las Vegas, they have it on top of one of those towers. You know, like they have the roller coaster on top of the stratosphere. You know, so that thing is coming down at hundreds of miles an hour. It's probably
don't be near it. You're going to get hurt. Don't be near it.
No kidding. Yeah, you can get hurt. All right. So I mentioned beforehand we were going to talk about Dirty Dancing, and Karen got all excited about that. Is that one of your favorite movies, Karen?
No, but I liked it.
Like the Dirty Dance.
Yeah, I like Dirty Dancing itself.
Oh, okay. Well, and Rich, I didn't hear Rich say anything in the background there.
Yeah, he's quiet. Doesn't have a headset on.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Oh. So, what was the most memorable scene in Dirty Dancing? The one everybody remembers.
When he picked her up.
Picked her up in the water. They were practicing in the lake. Yeah. So that was Patrick Swayze played Johnny, and Jennifer Grey played Baby.
Yep.
And Baby's family was visiting this lake in the Catskills, this resort. And I'm not going to get into the plot. Everybody's seen the movie. But at one point, they're practicing dancing, and she was afraid of falling when she jumped into his arms. So they went to the lake so she wouldn't hurt herself. She would hurt herself badly now because that lake is dry. And that's what we're going to talk about. But but first, I had some Dirty Dancing trivia because I like that movie too. Turns out that it wasn't supposed to be called Dirty Dancing because it's a very risque name. One of the original titles they considered, get ready for this, John, I Was a Teenage Mamba Queen.
Teenage Mamba Queen?
Teenage Mamba Queen, that's right. That sounds like something you would go to. That's what.
Like a
don't
movie
Google that, kids. Don't Google that because I don't know what you're going to come up with. It's going to be a porn video for sure. And believe it or not, with the chemistry that those two had was unbelievable. It dripped off the screen. Turns out, at the beginning of the movie, they hated each other because they had worked together previously on a movie, a Patrick Swayze vehicle called Red Dawn. And Jennifer Grey just thought he was a real jerk, and he didn't think much of her either. So they really weren't interested in working together again. And as a matter of fact, they weren't the first choices. Believe it or not, the original choice for Johnny, that would be for Patrick Swayze's role. The original choice was Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer?
Really?
Yeah, from Top Gun. Yeah. I don't think he would have done it quite as well.
No, he wouldn't have pulled it off like Swayze did.
Now, the other one was Billy Zane, who was the villain in Titanic. And he might have done a little better. But Patrick Swayze, that was his role. For the women, one of the women who turned it down was Deborah Winger, who had just done the movies with John Travolta, the Western movie.
Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy, thank you, with dancing in it. So she would have done okay.
Right.
She turned it down. Sarah Jessica Parker, who
really
would have done well. She turned it down as well.
Huh.
Who did accept so they accepted the role. Now, two people who got along great on the movie were Baby's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Bishop was their name. And They were played by Jerry Orbach and Kelly. Oh no, Baby's parents were not Bishop because her name was Bishop. Anyway, Jerry Orbach and Kelly Bishop. Jerry Orbach was on the original Law and Order. He was and a huge Broadway actor, huge. So he and Kelly Bishop were played on Broadway in 1968 in the original cast of Promises, Promises. So they went way back, 20 years before this movie. And Orbach won the Tony Award for that movie. In 1976, Orbach was nominated for another Tony for the role of Billy Flynn in Chicago. He was the first Billy Flynn. So, you know, when you're the first guy in all these just great plays, you know you're good. And he was a good singer, too. He didn't get an Oscar that year, but guess who did? Kelly Bishop, who won a Tony, for a Tony, not an Oscar, a Tony, for originating the role of Sheila in A Chorus Line. So again, you know, a great sign that what a great, brilliant actress she was. And then two people who refused to do the movie, and this is ironic. And if you remember the plot, at the very end, Johnny gets blamed for stealing a wallet. And they eventually find out that it was an older couple. The Shoemakers was their name. The role for Mr. Shoemaker was offered to Joel Grey, who was Jennifer Grey's father, still is Jennifer Grey's father, another great Broadway actor. The mother, Mrs. Schumacher, was offered to Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
Oh my God.
Oh, Dr. Ruth.
Oh. So you think, so two little people. I mean, Joel Grey's not real big. Dr. Ruth Westheimer's not real big.
That's true.
A funny combo. So Dr. Ruth reads the script, and everything is great until she gets to the end and finds out that she's playing a thief. And she says, no, back to sex.
Stranger than true.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so what happened? So they shot this movie in Virginia at Mountain Lake, and everything was fine when they shot the movie. And then in 2008, the lake disappeared. The water level just kept dropping and dropping and dropping until it finally disappeared, and cracks started forming in the bed. So they bring in these geologists, and they have to, you know, the resort, it is a working resort.
Right.
It's based, you know, a lot of their activities are based on Dirty Dancing. So, you know, everybody wants to see the lake. So it turns out that it was built on a bunch of rocks that had been formed by a glacier, like a landslide caused by a glacier. So there's all these built-in cracks, and sediment fills in. Well, the sediment washed out, and the cracks reopened, and the water, the combination of a drought and natural drainage caused the leak. Then they started digging more, and they found out that this happened once every 400 years. Nobody bothered to tell them 400 years ago, you know, hey guys, in 2008, this is going to happen again. Oh. So luckily, they went in with sediment and they patched some of the holes, and the rainwater started to stay, and it's slowly but surely coming back. So, but they took advantage of it, and I love people who think. The owners of the resort have started catering to geologists, because apparently it's the only lake in the world where this happened. So in addition to catering to fans of Dirty Dancing, they're catering to fans of geology to come and see this really weird lake we have here in Virginia that every 400 years disappears and then comes back.
That's interesting.
So, I thought that was
all the way around.
Yeah, so, you know, they can't make the movie again. Obviously, Patrick Swayze is no longer with us. Jennifer Grey said that she would never do the leap again, but she did do it on Dancing with the Stars, and she won that year. So, yeah, so you know, nothing is forever. In fact, Patrick Swayze was offered a sequel, but he said he doesn't do sequels. He was offered $6 million to do the sequel. And they never did one. I'm sure. I hope they don't. I hope they don't. So anyway, so there's your Dirty Dancing story.
Okay.
Very good, Paul.
So now let's see. We were running a little behind here to get right to Bluff the co-host. As everybody knows who's played before, and if you don't, I'll explain it. Bluff the co-host. I have 3 stories. that are similar to the stories we've been telling for the past hour, except some may be true, some may be a bluff. Maybe 1, 2, or 3 that are true, maybe 1, 2, or 3 that are bluffs. It's up to Karen and John and the lovely Rich if he's
He's not listening.
Oh, okay. So it's just you and Karen, John.
Yep.
So this is your chance to get back at me for.
I have to do something. I have to do something.
So let's go. Let's get underway right away here. So story number 1, hands on the buzzer. When you get bored with watching videos of dogs and people doing stupid things on TikTok, you may want to try switching over to Witch Talk and watch what witches do. Well, we better not say what they do because they might put a spell on us. Turns out, if you key in hashtag Wish Talk, it takes you to videos made by a small group of beginner or baby witches on TikTok. Most of these are the usual things like a witch looking at candles, a witch looking at an astrology chart, a witch waving to other witches to be cute. However, some people are very concerned because one video shows these baby witches putting a spell on the moon. Now, non-witches like us started complaining that the moon might disappear because of this spell, while experienced witches were upset with the baby witches because they were messing with things they don't understand and haven't learned yet. Everything is okay now, and the witch talk videos are required to carry a warning that baby witches should not try this at home. So, Witch Talk, the witch version of TikTok, with videos of baby witches putting a spell on the moon and causing panic around the world. Real or bluff? John, welcome back. We'll let you go first.
I'm going to say bluff.
Bluff, okay.
At first, I was thinking it was true, but as you continued on, it's too far-fetched.
You don't know any witches, huh? Not in your immediate circle.
Not that they would admit it to me. They might be. They would never admit it. I can tell you that, Paul. I will take that to the bank, as the expression goes.
All right, Karen. So John says it's a bluff. What do you think?
I have to agree with him. It's just, I don't know. No.
So you don't follow the Donna rule, which was John's original rule. That's so strange it must be real. Well, it turns out that's so strange it must be real. That's a real story. Baby witches. I didn't know there was such a thing. By the way, Steeler Girl, who's one of our regular listeners, that was her nickname amongst the text chicken, lovely
Baby
Donna.
witch?
How are you?
Yeah, they called her Baby Witch.
Lou, if you can get to my mom's house.
Here we go. We got John's ordering pizza while we're playing the game here. Man, there's no prize money. All right. So John, come back.
I'm grabbing up. Give me a moment here, and then,
I want pepperoni, John.
Oh my gosh.
John's ordering pizza. What are we having?
No, we had pizza last night. It was delicious. I can plug a place near. It's Augie's, which is right by.
Okay, John. Turn your beeper off on your phone for a second.
Sorry. Hey, listen, I have to jump out for a minute. I have to make a quick phone call. I'll be right back. Okay.
Well, we're gonna be done. Okay.
Yeah. Well, give me 5 minutes. Not even that.
I'm sorry, John. We can't. You just forfeited your last 2 answers.
My God.
Only on What in the World? I don't believe it. Okay. So let's move on to story number 2. Karen, you're on your own. I'll fill in. Here we go. The leaders of Thailand's parliament are so tired of members arguing about everything brought up for discussion and threatening to do bodily harm to each other that they've decided to bring back an ancient method of dealing with disagreement: dueling. Don't worry, this will not end up with a sad ending like Hamilton. The duels will be conducted on the back lawn behind the Parliament building using water balloons at 20 paces. The balloons will be filled by a neutral party, and each dueler will get 2, 1 red and 1 blue. If no one wins the first round, they will step 10 more paces apart and throw again until one misses more than the other. The duelers must sign an agreement stating that they will abide by the decision of the balloons, and if they don't, they will be subjected to a firing squad of opposing party members throwing a volley of balloons filled with paint the color of the opposing party's balloons. So far, there have been 2 duels, and the fights in Parliament have dropped to nothing. Offers to share the rules have been turned down by their counterparts in Washington, D.C. So, the story, John, I'll give it to you in a summary. Parliament in Thailand is now settling disagreements using water balloon duels. And they say it's working great. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll let John ponder for a second.
You know, it's so, like your wife says, it's so strange. It has to be real. Real.
Well, Karen says it's real. John, what do you think? Based on that little snippet you heard.
No, sorry about the interruption. But I'm going to pray it's not true.
Oh, so John says it's a bluff. Karen says
I
it's
say
real.
it's a bluff. Yeah, I'm going to pray it's not true.
Karen says it's real. So John goes with his own strategy. No, Karen goes with the John strategy. That's so strange it must be real.
Right.
Turns out that's so strange it must be a bluff. John, you got one.
Hey, sorry, Karen. Not at your expense.
Okay.
All right, well, Karen, here's your chance because the points are doubled in round 3. So here we go. Get ready. Story number 3. If you think life is bad for humans right now, be glad you're not a squirrel. Besides getting eaten by hawks, run over by cars, and catching the bubonic plague in Colorado, wildlife officials across the country have finally figured out why squirrels seem to be turning down snacks offered to them by bored and lonely people stuck at home during the pandemic. It turns out that these squirrels have suddenly come down with peanut allergies. While not normally seen in the bushy-tailed rodents, veterinarians think that many generations of backyard feeding is meeting resistance from the squirrel's natural instinct to fear humans, and the end result is a sudden onset of peanut allergies, which the squirrels have quickly learned to avoid by turning down all things planters from human beings. Not all the squirrels develop the peanut allergy, but veterinarians suggest eating them yourself and giving the critters your walnuts, filberts, pistachios, cashews, and other more expensive nuts that they seem to still have a taste for. So, squirrels developing peanut allergies because they've been fed so many peanuts by humans, and their natural instinct to fear humans kicks in, and they just develop an allergic reaction to peanuts. Real or bluff? John, you're back. We'll let you go first.
I'm going instinctively thinking, yes, it was true, but the more I think of it, it's got to be a bluff. I pray this one's a bluff also.
So John says it's a bluff. You've probably hit a few squirrels in your day, just like we all have driving.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Never thought it once that you might be ending a peanut allergist life.
Well,
you think it's a bluff. So
I think it's a bluff, though. I think it's a bluff.
Karen, how about you?
I have to think it's a bluff because I have so many squirrels here in the park system.
Right.
They're acting normal. They're not dying on me, and they're not leaving trails of stuff around. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Even though it clearly says here, not all squirrels are affected by it.
I understand that, but I would assume if some are, I might have seen it.
Okay. All right. So 2 bluffs. Am I right? Bluff from John, bluff from
I don't
Karen.
like the look on your face.
I don't like it either. I've got a bad vibe on this one.
That's from me wishing that it was true, but it's a bluff.
Hey, way to go, Karen. Way to go.
But John, you won because that's double.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, John picked up. Picked
Yeah,
up that
right.
one where he snuck out and snuck back in. I hope that pizza's good, John. So, all right. Well, we've reached the end of another What in the World. I think we went a little longer here, but that's okay. You'll be able to see, for those who missed it on YouTube, but you're listening on Spreaker, tune in a few hours from now or maybe tomorrow, and you'll get a chance to see us having a great time.
And they'll see it on YouTube later today.
Later today. Okay,
Oh,
great.
very
So,
good.
yeah.
Very good.
So we had a usual fun time. It's great to have John back.
Great to be back. Great to be
Yeah,
back.
I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed dinner. Karen, thank you so much for everything you do at newclevelandradio.net. Everybody, go visit newclevelandradio.net, where you can find links to What in the World and also to the eclectic group of podcasts that is growing every day. Karen said she just added another one today. So by all means, check it out. There's something there for everybody.
You got it.
That, Karen, I'm going to say goodbye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Everybody have a good week too. See you next week.
See you all
Bye-bye.
next week.
Bye.